Hello, fellow joy lovers, and welcome back to Gimme That Joy. As some of you may have noticed, we didn't have an episode last week. As it was my birthday week, I decided to take some time to just rest and reflect. And it was quite a fruitful time. Thank you for sticking with us through that little break. And I was thinking that this episode we could do more of a reflective type of episode. We are about halfway through our time with Sandra Dalton Smith's Sacred Rest Challenge and using each of those prompts as a joy practice that we engage in and experiment with throughout each week. And so at this halfway point, I was thinking maybe we could reflect a bit. It's something that is common in coaching, to somewhere halfway or in the midway point of a coaching conversation to reflect on how things are going so far. Kind of the same thing we do whenever we're in some kind of project or even going through a year. Somewhere about midway, we may take some time to reflect, to think, how's it been going? You know, what insights and progress have I made thus far? What do I envision as I go forward? And what are some tweaks I may want to make to help me move in that direction more fluidly and more successfully as I define success? So as I was reflecting last week and coming into this week on how things have been going thus far with this go around of the Sacred Rest challenge, for me, one of the things I realized is that hasn't been going as well as I'd have liked. And I think that reflection was also birthed from reflecting on, with birthdays, the same thing you do at birthdays, you kind of think about, where you are at this point in time and how do you feel about and think about where you are. For me, by this point in the journey, I would love to have been more settled, more grounded in my restful, joyful living journey by this point. At the same time, I realized it's a work in progress. The verse that is like a cornerstone for my desired approach to life and living is Matthew 11:28-30. And the verses say, "Come unto me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." These verses have been just the desire of my heart for decades. I've just wanted to live this way. And I've really been seeking God and asking him to help me to have this kind of lifestyle. And as a result, I've delved deeply into various books and podcasts and YouTube videos and just about everything I could find on living restfully, living joyfully, living peacefully, and at the same time getting things done. Because one of the challenges for me has been, I have, like many of you, been raised in a performance-based society, both in the church and out of the church. And so for me, it's been just really a challenge to, as a believer, live a lifestyle where my worth is not based on my performance. And while I know that that is true, that my worth is based on the fact that I'm a child of God, at the same time, I struggle with finding, with resting in God, with allowing him to do in and through me what he desires to do. And this week, as I was reflecting, it really came home to me that there are so many ways in which I haven't truly rested in God, in which I haven't just allowed him to be God and to take care of me, to sustain me, to enlighten me, to guide me. Now, there are ways in which I've done that, and I can see as I reflect, there are many ways in which, and many areas in which I've allowed God to guide me. And I see how even in some areas I'm getting better at allowing him to guide me. And that's just God, because I realize that I'm a fairly headstrong person. And so it's quite challenging for me to rest in the fact that God is in control and that he's taking care of me and that we can walk together into what he has without me striving and efforting and pushing. And so, yeah, this week I realized, boy, Carla, there's some ways in which you may want to scale back how you approach things and allow God to enlighten you as to how you can be with him and rest in him and be joyful in him as you continue to go forward on life's journey. And so with the rest practices, it's been a little tricky because I've realized that, yeah, I have this tendency to want to control and take over. And I'll start off, resting in God and moving along with him step by step. And then all of a sudden I'll find out that I'm off track and in quite a mess because I haven't really rested in him and allowed his word and his will and his way to guide me along and shepherd me in the way that is best for me to go at this point in the journey. And so, yes, as I've been reflecting, I have really been just asking God to forgive me for being me and help me to be less of the me I know and more of the me that he knows me to be, because there's so much growth left for me on this journey. And there's so many ways in which I can rest more fully in him. And so these sacred rest practices that we've been doing as joy practices have been helpful to keep that rest motif and that rest theme in front of me and to help me to move in that direction more and more. I find that in low ebb times like what I'm going through right now, I'm more restful because I don't know what to do. And in some ways, I am more easily guided because I'm at a loss. In high tide times, I can get a little ahead of myself, or a lot ahead of myself, and get myself into interestingly sticky situations that I end up having to journey through with God in the low ebb seasons. And so, I don't know, it's been a really powerful week or so of just seeking to understand more fully how I'm doing on the rest journey thus far and how I can get more deeply into a restful, joyful, effortless lifestyle that also ends up producing results, but in a way that's not taxing, burdensome, and wearying. And so, yeah, it's been interesting. As you guys watch or listen to this episode, I hope that something resonates with you and helps you to go deeper in the journey of rest, and rest as a foundation for joy and peace and the kind of success that you can be happy with, be content with, because it wasn't this kind of performance-based success, but success based in who you're becoming and who you're being in the world as you learn to rest more in God and in the journey of life that you're on, and be gentle with yourself. This is one of the things that's been the most remarkable or impactful for me as I'm journeying along. It's this idea of being gentle with myself and loving myself in all seasons. And so I hope and pray that you're able to, one, be more gentle with yourself, to be more compassionate with yourself, to take the time to incorporate these restful and joyful practices that will continue to be featuring on this channel, to allow yourself to be more of who you're meant to be and live more of the life that you desire to live, where you see yourself becoming just a more awesome version of who you are without struggling, striving, efforting, and pushing yourself. You'd see yourself being drawn into this way of living and it becoming more and more natural to you, like breathing, as you rest in who you are in God now and in who you're becoming as you continue on the journey with Him, and as you surrender to the beauty and the awesomeness of the adventure that you're on. At the same time, you focus on incorporating a little more rest, a little more joy each day. And if not more, a little bit of rest and a little bit of joy each day. And so, yeah, that's my reflection. As you're going forward this week, take some time to reflect on how things are going thus far with you in this Sacred Rest Challenge that we've been using as joy prompts. How successful, as you define success, have you been thus far with easing into a more restful, joyful, effortless approach to life? What are some things that you might want to change or tweak to help yourself to have more of that experience? And also, how can you be gentle, compassionate, kind, and encouraging to yourself as you go on this journey? It's a big change from the way that we generally live, and it can be challenging to incorporate a more joyful, restful, effortless approach to life. At the same time, it really can yield big dividends, especially if you're incorporating the rest in God aspect of it, where you allow God to show you step by step, day by day, how you can rest more in Him, trust more in Him, surrender to the things that you're holding on to and trying to make work out for you, and see what beauty and what blessedness and what awesomeness He has in store for you once we let go, rest, and allow ourselves to be taken along on the grand adventure that He has for us. May you have a beautifully blessed time of it, and may insights, revelations, and steps forward come to you bit by bit. Until next time, bye for now.